Hey guys, and welcome to a bit of a different video. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, and today we're going to be breaking down one or two things from the developer diary that Creative Assembly did release about Total War Warhammer 3. Now, most of you guys, I'm sure, follow me for that multiplayer action, and we actually now have official stats for the win, draw, loss ratio on ranked matchmaking in Total War Warhammer 3, and it is very surprising. There's obviously some not so big surprises, but some other ones where I'm like, how on earth is this faction faring so poorly? And Creative Assembly have also outlined slightly what they're going to be doing about this, and also changing Domination in a way that I think will make a lot of you people happy. Makes me a little bit apprehensive, but at the same time, I'm always excited to try new stuff out. So let's delve into this. So here is the ranked matchmaking and multiplayer domination mode stats. And as you can see, hopefully let's do a bit of a zoom in so you guys can get a bit of a better look here. It is not so surprising who is at the top and who is at the bottom. So up the top here is going to be the worst faction in the game with a 32.74% win rate, Grand Cathay, which I don't think surprises anyone whatsoever. As you can see at the bottom, Ogre Kingdoms, of course, come running away with it as you'd expect. But what I am very, very surprised about and disappointed in my Kislev brothers. How are you second worst, Kislev? They're such a powerful faction. And Kislev are down here with just a 40% win ratio. That is really quite poor, and actually coming up below Nurgle. Now, this is quite shocking. I think this information is slightly different from tournament information, of course. Kislev seem to perform absolutely amazing and fine in tournaments. No need to worry too much there, but Nurgle actually coming in third from bottom with a 51% win ratio. Not shabby whatsoever. Then another bit of a surprise. I'm equally surprised by this one at Khorne. Only 52% victory, or 52.71 I should say, is honestly quite surprising. I personally would pick Khorne above Slaanesh and even Tzeentch in Domination game mode. Though in pitch battles, I put Tzeentch as one of the strongest factions in the realms. But Khorne, 52% holding down at the middle of the pack. Now, I do think Khorne in general are a relatively solid faction. I don't think they're too unbalanced in any way. I think they're a pretty balanced group of lads and ladies. So it's not too bad team in the middle, but I'm very surprised that Slaanesh are actually above them, considering the skill gap you need to make Slaanesh work effectively. But coming in with the 54.99%, Slaanesh are taking that third spot there, followed by Tzeentch with 56%. And of course, Ogre Kingdoms, the most dominant faction by a considerable margin, with 62% winning, nearly double the amount of Grand Cathay, not quite there yet. Now, this is really quite funny because the two factions I've played for the most part on ranked, I've definitely got quite a big positive kill-death ratio on ranked, or win-loss ratio, is Grand Cathay and Kislev. So I feel like I'm holding Cathay up right now, but I haven't actually been able to play too much for obvious reasons, so it's interesting to see nonetheless, though, that particularly in tournaments, I've had great success of Kislev and probably Khorne, my most two successful factions, and the factions I see the most. However, that probably does come into the fact that Ogre Kingdoms is banned 9 times out of 10 in tournaments, so you're going to be seeing a bit of a mix-up there. So we'll go through now very briefly the little outline they've done of each of the factions and what their kind of thoughts are on how they're going to process them. There is going to be some initial balancing tweaks for the factions in this patch, which I don't think has been released like today or anything. I think it's coming up at the start of next month, I believe they said. I'll have to fact check that for you. So they do agree that Ogre Kingdoms in general are overperforming heavily in both ranked matchmaking and tournaments. This is what I would fully agree on. We're making some significant adjustments to the units based on community feedback and our metrics. So most likely Iron Blasters and Gorgers will get a big, fat, hefty nerf, is my expectations from there. Grand Cathay is currently, and by a large margin, the biggest underperformers in ranked matchmaking and domination tournaments. We think that Cathay is best when the army is large, such as in land battles, and we can see that. Like, Grand Cathay are devastating in land battles. They're one of the best factions, if not the best faction. Although I'd say Tzeentch probably takes that biscuit, but Grand Cathay, they're up there, right, in land battles, whereas domination, you barely see them. And it looks like, because their Cathay are struggling so much, they're actually going to be increasing the size of all starting armies in domination mode. Now, this is something a lot of people have been really excited about. People want larger armies in domination mode, and they want large armies from the rip. Now, this is something I am excited to try. I'm always excited to try new game modes, new styles of play, and, you know, these big changes. However, it is going to come with a bit of a pro and a con. There's definitely going to be a lot less emphasis on reinforcements and their impact on the battlefield, and we may slide back into the more RNG elements of Total War Warhammer 2, which plagued that game so badly of that, your starting army could just mean you've instantly lost the game, or you've instantly won the game regardless of what your opponent decides to do on the actual battlefield, because you've countered them so hard with your actual army. Now, it doesn't say how much they're increasing the size by on the army, so it may not be a problem. It may be a problem. We'll have to wait and see. I'm very excited to see this as they make games more cinematic, but a little bit nervous about this as well, but more positive than nervous, I would say, about increasing the starting armies. And I think it's definitely something that should be explored regardless, and maybe even having players that give the ability to increase or lower the amount of starting armies in those custom lobbies and so forth. So it looks like Kislev are slightly underperforming in ranked matchmaking. This is, really shocking stuff. So Kislev are slightly underperforming in ranked matchmaking according to their metric. However, they seem to be performing adequately in tournament environment. I would 1000% agree with this. I think Kislev are absolutely fine in tournaments. There are a few units that particularly stand out, so we're looking to make smaller tweaks whilst observing the effect of other changes and bug fixes. So most likely we're going to be seeing a bit of a buff to the war sleds. Hopefully just like war sleds. I think heavy war sleds are in an absolutely fine position where they are now for their gold cost. But it does look most likely that's a big hint that we're going to be seeing some changes to light war sled action. Apparently, Nurgle are doing very well in ranked matchmaking. They're doing fine, though. They just over 50% win ratio is pretty good. However, they do know that they do not perform well in a tournament environment. I would agree with this in both Domination and Pitch Battles, particularly Pitch Battles. I think Nurgle, or even more when the other factions are going to come in, are just going to be dead, because you're so slow getting to the enemy. You just get obliterated by gunfire. Now, Nurgle can be deceptively fast in some way, Forsaken, Furies, the Rotflies, and so on, but they definitely need a little bit of help, so they're considering... or they're concerned with the slowness of most Nurgle units, making them vulnerable to larger armies with ranged firepower. Yeah, this basically sums it up, which can result in heavy losses before the Nurgle units are able to engage in melee combat. So they're aware of this. I don't know what changes they're going to be doing. We'll have to find out. Now, it looks like they are fixing several issues with charges, bracing, and impact damage in this patch as well. They feel it's too risky to touch the Slanesh units at the moment until they see how these changes come into place. And honestly, the effects of charges, bracing, and impact damage may fix chariots and stuff anyway, because that could be the main problem. I'm a little worried, with apparently cavalry already being a bit bugged where charges don't do so much damage. I've had so much success with cavalry already, particularly with Slanesh. I feel they could become absolute monsters on the battlefield once their cav has been tweaked in this positive way. So we'll have to see how that fares. Slanesh could become, the new dominant faction. Only time will tell, of course. So pretty cool, though, that they are changing this stuff. They're currently happy with the state of Khorne. I would agree. I think Khorne are the most balanced faction in the game right now, or the most, complete faction, in the sense that they're not, too charitable at anything. They're not too amazing at anything. They just seem to work well. Not amazing counters against them, which is why I think they perform really well in tournament action. So it looks like they're not going to be shifting that faction too much whatsoever. Pretty exciting stuff there. So there's going to be a few balancing changes in this patch, and again we have the the faction win rates here. There's a load in this. I will leave a link to it probably in the comment section down below for the developer diary. Load of breakdown. The majority of this stuff is campaign focused, of course, as you'd expect, and bug focused as well. But it looks like they're also going to be bringing in workshop support and mod managers with this patch, which I'm a massive fan of. I don't play mods that much myself, but I know it's a huge part of the community, and I'm always happy to experiment with them and play with mods, where possible. So awesome. Looks like they're also going to be rolling out a roadmap, possibly with this update, which is pretty exciting stuff. And that looks like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, which is a bit of a informative breakdown. If, I may also drop another video later today anyway. I've got a really awesome battle between me and Void in a glorious corner mirror match. But until next time, guys, peace.